Hello guys, welcome back. So we're not going to keep you too long because a lot of you are probably off enjoying the Steam sale. We're all waiting UFO disclosure. Heard a rumor it was going to come today, did not. So far that I know of. And I think we're all waiting on that, right? Because it was supposed to be this month and everybody's kind of waiting around and everybody's hitting the Steam sale and we've got oodles and oodles and oodles of games all free. We have 2 or 3 in our cart, but we said let's wait till the end of the sale this time. And then if we still want to buy something, buy like 4 49-cent titles, because we have 200 we haven't played, and we've probably added like 30 to my wish list and about 10. I'm looking at the icons right here. So we have plenty of stuff to play. It's not like we don't have any games. And we're enjoying this festival as family time. Yesterday I bought, treats, went out and went, we had those 2 treats yesterday. Had some treat today that we made some food at home and we're just enjoying going through all the free games and like picking all this stuff up. And there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of free games we could get. If we wanted to walk away from this sale with just every free game, we'd have 300, 400, 500 games. If we weren't picky, if you're one of those people that you're so into video games that you have to play every single one, you could walk away with 400, 500 games probably. I'm guessing because there are tons of categories we haven't even looked into yet. So we're talking about that. And we're talking about, I just throw a ton on my wish list and I put like 10 on the computer at a time or so. Play them, go back to the wish list, rinse, repeat. And then if we still want more games, if we want a couple 49-cent titles at the end, then we can get those. But it's been interesting that the more they're here, the more the demons are here, the more balance I have. Because for the first year or so, you guys knew every time a Steam sale came, I went crazy and I went in on the first day and I spent a ton of money. Well, not a ton of money, but a bunch of 49-cent games. Then a couple days later, I had to go back again, and like 2 or 3 times we'd end up hitting the sale. And I said, well, so far so good. We haven't spent anything. We got a ton of games yesterday, got a ton of games today. And I said, let's save a bunch of free games so when the fall or winter sale comes up, we have more free games to go back in and get. So I think it's what we're going to do. There's the temptation to grab them all now because what if they don't exist, by the time of the fall or winter sale, but that's it. But with Asmodeus here, it seems, it's easier to keep that balance. 1 second, guys. I am sorry. Sorry about that, allergies. And, Satan had asked me a question last night. I wasn't sure if he was serious or not, because usually they're not. Usually when they ask me these questions, nothing happens. He said, how much money would it take for you to go buy some stuff you saw? I said, honestly, it won't matter what you gave me. If you gave me a 20, I could spend that. If you gave me a 50, I'd find a way to spend that. I'd just grab every game that randomly caught my interest. And he says, well, how much could I give you? Like, say, 200. Because, obviously 200. I'm like, honestly, it would have to be around 500 for me not to be able to spend it all. Because he said, how much could I give you? And this did not appear that you couldn't possibly spend it all in the next 2 weeks. I'm like, 500? I said, honestly, 2 weeks? I said, probably go for more for 1,000. Go for 1,000 just to be sure. And he's just looking at me, and I have an idea that he wants to drop his jaw to the floor, but he's way too dignified. I said, look. I said, if you gave me that kind of crazy money, I would just run through Steam with wild abandon and have no self-control. I said I would buy all the top shelf games I've always looked at, never bought, and I would buy all the crummy games I've always wanted and just never bought. And I said I would have a grand old time. And he just kind of like shook his head and didn't understand it. Asmodeus understands it. Asmodeus understands that I actually wanted to get Asmodeus a treat this time. There was this kind of spicy, gambling game. And I thought they would go on sale, and they didn't. And so he's a little disappointed, but we're going to go back to the sale and see if there's like casino games and stuff like that. We have so many, places we haven't looked at. And so it's just going to be a day or so of us just going through hundreds of games and pulling through them and throwing a bunch in our wish list. And having a bunch on the computer. We haven't even played more than 1 game yet because, we're compiling games while the compiling's good. And, even if those games weren't free at the end of the sale, we just take them off the wish list, so it's not going to be a problem. But it's something is going on with them lately. I think they were really, surprised because yesterday I stood up for them. And, someone had come on to the channel, and I try to be open towards whatever people believe. As long as they're trying not to make me believe it, I really don't care if they tell it to me and I'm like, I don't believe that at all. As long as they're not trying to make me believe it, I try to be open to everybody's beliefs. I really do. If you believe the moon is made out of potatoes and NASA makes spaghetti up there, I really don't care as long as you don't force me to believe. I go, yeah. He's like, is there moon spaghetti? No, baby, there's not. That I know of. There might be. I don't know. Depends on whether you believe in those secret moon bases. He almost made me spit coffee. He goes, a bad chef for a D. Anyhow, shush. Anyhow, where was I even? Thanks a lot. Anyhow, the person come on, and he's laughing back there. And they were telling this fantastical story, and it was one of the kind of mistress with the furs type, so wrapped up in themselves that you're talking to them and you can tell they're not hearing anything that doesn't relate to how awesome they are. And I'm like, okay, this is great. But then they said something nasty about the demons, and I will absolutely not tolerate that on this channel. I love them. I love them. They're my family. That Satan has yelled at me from time to time is Satan going, hey, we have this relationship. We've known each other for years. Why are you doing this now? And then I just have to bring it to him as stuff comes up, as it always will, because I was raised Roman Catholic, and say, I'm sorry, I know logically this isn't true, but emotions and logic have nothing to do with each other. And actually, since we're living more as a family unit than, them coming on as more formal teachers, they're learning. They're learning with me that, panic attacks and anxiety have nothing to do with logic. If they did, they wouldn't exist because we could reason our way through stuff. I said, it doesn't matter. A panic attack, anxiety, social anxiety has nothing to do with logic. And they're learning this working with me. So I think they're learning and I'm learning too. But I was absolutely really upset that somebody tried to use the channel to push that they didn't like them, and they thought they were bad and all this other stuff. A lot of people want attention, and a lot of people want to push what they believe. And I'm like, great, go start your own channel. Everybody that's on YouTube is free. You have your own channel already to put up whatever kind of videos they want. And I didn't like seeing them disrespected, and I think they were really surprised. And I said, no. I said, you've never hurt me once. I said, you do get frustrated when those old fears that were implanted in me from childhood crop up, but they're more frustrated for our sake. They more go on rescue missions like Loki and the other gods go on, because I see them as old gods. They go on rescue missions and they're trying to help us, and they're trying to break us free, and they're trying to say, why are you in this spirituality where you're taught you're basically a bad person, and that if you don't do everything exactly the right way, you're going to burn for all eternity. And that's not a judgment against lurking Christians, but they don't understand because they don't have that. No loving God has that in their wheelhouse. No loving God is going to burn you for all eternity, no matter how messed up the games you choose on Steam are. I go, yeah. There's some weird stuff on Steam. You all know it, and I ain't judging. It's one of those things where it sometimes takes a lifetime to unlearn. And you have to go and study and understand that, like, hell wasn't even a concept, whether you believe Jesus was real or not, or whoever you believe he was. The idea of hell is more based on Dante's Inferno than it is on an actual place. Saying the demons come from somewhere, some people call it the infernal plane or everything, but these are all old gods we have to remember from other cultures that were all lumped together because they weren't of the one true culture. So, it's something you have to work your way through. And you might always, every so often, have a little of fear because of what you were taught in, whatever religion you were brought up in. And you just have to keep walking past that. And I know it's hard because we live in a society dominated by people that love to tell the rest of us that we're going to burn for all eternity and we're going to get, poked with pitchforks and all that. But that's really horrible and it's toxic. I think we can all agree about that. We as pagans, witches, whatever you consider yourself, we don't have any place to send our bad people to. There's usually some kind of form of some kind of supermax for people that are they would be so unstable that they might hurt the general population for them to go to, but it's not a place of punishment. It's just like we have to put them somewhere and we have to put them over here until they can learn to play with everybody else. It's a completely, different concept of an afterlife. It's not based on a merit system. It's not based on how many gods you know or how much magic you've learned or however good or bad you were. It's just based on, wherever you end up, you end up. So it's just food for thought. So we'll probably be, a little, as long as my tiny little human brain is distracted by all the flash and wonder of the Steam cell, we'll probably be for like the first week of the cell. We're probably gonna be distracted. You guys know that. Every time there's a cell, I'm pretty useless. But, I at least wanted to make sure to get back to work every day. So if I'm kind of like, you can tell, she's thinking of video games. Why is she even trying? I'm at least coming to work every day because Asmodeus is trying to help me keep that balance of, yeah, you still have to go to work every day. It's my fault. I didn't make stuff. When I had random ideas and like set it up for 2 weeks and go on vacation, I could have done that, but I didn't do it. But, it's once the flash and the Steam cell wears off, we'll be back to normal. But we want to at least get something up for you guys today. So if you like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.